up, ultra happy people? I am your host, ultra runner and coach, Tanya, and your magnificent co-host, Andy.
Magnificent co-host who is still very sandy, I might add.
Oh my God, we have a really cool episode today. First of all, we've got the best weekend ever, so we need to tell you all about this. If you listen to this, you probably follow me on Instagram, but you need to hear the whole the story behind it, right? Because I didn't even publish that much because I don't know. It was just I didn't put
Best pictures I think I've ever taken in my life.
I did post the pictures. Those are absolutely worth it. So please, like I said, you probably follow me already, but go and check out those photos. Are absolutely amazing. So we went out there and going out to explore the UAE a little bit. So we'll tell you all about it. We also have stage 5 of the Atacama crossing, 70 kilometers long of the long march. So this one is a little bit shorter. You guys are used to the 90 kilometer long march. This one was 70 kilometer, but it was still pretty painful and pretty horrid. So yeah, you want to hear all about it. And obviously stage 6 and the queen of all these stages, 20 kilometers till the end of the Atacama crossing. And it was not only the end of the Atacama crossing, it was the end of the Grand Slam plus 5 deserts. And that was, I even got goosebumps. I'm going to try not to cry. Probably I will, because it was one of the most emotional days I had ever. Because that was, we worked. You've been with us through it all. And we've been waiting for that moment, for that day. So yeah, it was a very emotional ride, that one in particular. We will also reflect a little bit in what a year that kind of everything happened in within 12 months, the 5 deserts. And with that, obviously, it came a lot of miles, a lot of life happening through it. So yeah, it was definitely a learning. And I love that you guys still here, obviously. And also we're going to talk about what is next. So after Atacama, we start preparing for Cocodona, that we have 250 miles after, we have 4 weeks to rest a little bit. And then we're going to head out to Phoenix. We're all going together to Phoenix to prepare for Cocodona. So.
And hold on a minute.
Yeah.
We've got one of the really important things.
Yeah.
DIY Andy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. For those on Spotify or whatever, we have a new background.
You guys need to go to YouTube. I was these medals need to be out of the cupboard because I didn't kill myself over a year to not have them out. So DIY Andy had to.
I was being pestered for weeks and weeks.
I need to be my medals out. And Andy didn't want veganing. So you tell me if it looks better or not. If you say
it's not coming down.
I was going to say, if you say no, first of all, F you, because those cost me sweat, tears, and blood. So
I've got a proud wee shelf as well.
You do. He has a shelf. No, I didn't take over all shelves, most of them, but he has a wee shelf with his half marathon and his Cocodona pacer bib number. Oh, how cute. So proud of you. So proud of you. So yeah, we'll start filling them up with race momentums. These are the ones I've got only from the past year. Obviously,
more to come.
Through all the years, I've just, the ones I did in Mexico, they kind of stayed in Mexico. The ones I did in the UK, I left them in a box in the UK. So yeah, these ones will be.
I tell you what ones I'm excited for.
In the UAE.
And we broke the news last week.
Yeah.
The Burning Man Ultra.
I know.
I'm excited for them.
Super excited. So yeah, let's start with the beginning.
The beginning.
We are also live on Instagram. We put a schedule out. So every Wednesday I put there, usually it's our 1 p.m. in Dubai. Just Google it, ChatGPT it, wherever you are in the world. And that's the time that we'll be here with you. If you want to pop by in Instagram, you can ask real questions. So I'll be reading you in a minute. And if not, you can watch us, obviously, and listen to us during your run on the weekends. That's probably all you do. So, okay, let's start with the weekend. We need to share with you the weekend first.
The comedy moments of
oh my God,
of running in a desert.
I think it's one of the things that you will only be telling about if you only live here. Like I've never, not even my wildest dreams. So it was super surreal, super fun, beautiful. And that's kind of the weekend we had. So, we are in our camping area, in our camping era, right? You all know. You've seen it on my socials. So we bought that again. It's not an ad, but we bought that thing from Temu that just is like an extension for your car. So you can camp there, right? And we've been kind of like trying it out. Anyway, we were heading out to the mountains as we usually do on a Saturday. And we seen like this sign that said glamping just before arriving to the mountains. And I'm like, Andy, what about if they have like camping, maybe they're glamping, but they would let you maybe camp to the side or I don't know.
Right, okay, let's do it.
And he's like, okay, let's go. I was like, okay. It was like a dusty, super bumpy road. There was camels like passing through. Proper off-road. And that's why we got the car we got, because like proper off-road, like driving, we have no idea where we're going. Anyway, so we're driving and we're like, we didn't find the famous glamping site or whatever that we were looking at. There was nothing, which I think it's because it's summer in Dubai and obviously in the UAE. And obviously no one is camping in summer, just us, pair of nutters. So probably there was nothing in there. And we just kept going. And then to the left, I started seeing these like beautiful rock formations. And I'm like, I think I've seen that in someone else's running Instagram or hiking Instagram that you can go up and hike those rocks. And I was like, that is a rock I've seen. Like, how do we get there? So I'm like opening my Google Maps and just kind of like trying to figure out. And there was like a way to go around it. So we just needed to keep going. So we're like, okay, let's keep going and see, right? So we get there and then the Google Maps say that you had to turn left. But to be honest, there was
no road. It went pure desert.
Pure sand, like a proper sand dune, just no road anymore. So I was like, I'm not going there. Like, I've never driven in sand. I have no idea if the car will take it. Yeah. It's 45 degrees. Like, I just don't feel comfortable.
And I think to paint the picture, that everyone will have seen those images where they look at a desert and you see sand dunes where they're all peaked and, you've got the drops on them and you see the lines in the sand and everything. That's exactly how it looked.
Exactly. So I was like, I don't know if my car is going to survive that. I was like, no. Plus, we were also a little bit... not scared, but we didn't know if they would allow us to camp there. If it was like
no, we were scared.
We were scared. We didn't know if it was like a protected area or if it's allowed in the UAE to camp just anywhere. Like we know sometimes there's zones. So we're like, okay, no, let's just let's do more digging into it and then we'll come back.
We know nothing about driving in sand.
No, nothing. Plus we don't know nothing driving in sand. So you know what? We're like, just forget it. Let's just go to the mountains. Plan safe and our safe plan and let's just keep going. So we just kept going. So we were kind of driving around. So we exited from another exit, like not from where we were coming from. And we passed this like gate, which is
it's a security gate.
It's the
archaeological site.
The archaeological site. So that is sort of the entrance of the park as well. So there was like, obviously a security there. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to ask just for the future reference, like, hey, can you park in here? Can you camp and all that? And the security guy is like, oh, give me 1 second. I'm going to bring my manager. And I'm like, okay.
That sounds serious.
Sorry for asking. But the guy comes out and we started chatting with him. He was so lovely. He's like, yeah, usually the park is usually closed because it's summer. I mean, who hell goes to the sand, to the desert at 45 degrees to camp? Like nobody. So he's like, it's usually closed and there is like certain protocols to follow to if you ever want to camp. But he kind of seen us like, he's like, do you guys want to stay? And we're like, I mean, yes, sure.
We're here.
We're here, I guess. And he's like, yeah, sure, you can go, no problem. Like I will, He
had a good look at the car and he's like, yeah, you should be okay.
He's like, I think you guys can make it. And we're like, oh, because we want to cross to the rock. By the way, it's called Fossil Rock. So we're like, okay, how do we cross there? He's like, oh yeah, you need to leave the road and go off-road to the sand dunes. And we're like, I don't know about that. He's like, oh, you'll be okay. Your car seems okay. It's off-road. Like
he says, let the tire pressure down a little.
Yeah, so we're like, oh, okay, I don't know how to do that, but I'm okay.
Yeah,
With his blessing, we turned around, we went back into the park, and we stood there at the end of the road. It's just like we prayed, we hold hands.
We looked at it and thought, well, yeah.
I think we will do it.
How hard can it be? Let's try.
People, I was screaming. Like, I've never driven in dunes. It was a scary feeling, right? Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to make it any longer. For 5 minutes later.
No, not even 5 minutes. I would say about 150 metres we got. 150 metres.
Okay. 150 metres. That's as far as we got. And we got stuck.
Totally stuck.
Stuck in the sand. And it was so hot. And the car was overheating.
Yeah, the gearbox was overheating.
Gearbox out. And that's why probably it got stuck, because the car just stopped. And it was great. So a little bit of a panic moment. But I remember that obviously we seen the guy. And the guy did say like, hey, I'm here. Like, if anything happens, there's people around anyways. Like, like park rangers kind of thing. So like, okay. So we didn't get his number, but I thought really fast. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to Google the archaeological center. And yeah, they answered right away. And I said, hey, I think I'm going to stop. I'm here. I explained where I was. And the guy, and there's like a car, like a proper sand ranger car, like no joke, like a proper like 4x4, like super high car. Like,
arrives in 10 minutes, doesn't he?
And he's like, oh, it's you guys. We're just laughing. Like, yeah, I mean, who else could it be, right? So he was like, okay, just kind of like admiring the situation, like kind of studying how he was doing. And he tried to take it out. He couldn't. We had to pull the car with a tow rope. Yeah, tow the car with his car. And we were there for a little bit. Like, it wasn't that easy. Like, we were proper stock.
But we did learn a lot from him, to be fair.
Yes, so he was like, he was moving the stairwell like to the sides, and he was kind of like telling us how to do it next time a little bit. And anyway.
Now, the frustrating thing about this is, while we're stuck in the sand, he's trying to position himself to tow us out, and he is just driving around doing spins in the sand and like it's like he's doing tricks and stuff like that, and we're just looking at him like, what is going on?
I don't know what's happening. Anyway, we're not going to make it any long as well, the story, but he obviously rescued us.
Got us out.
He got us out, and he's like, okay, follow me, and he's like, and don't brake, like just never put the brake in the pedal, right? So
don't brake, don't be scared, and do
like a wiggly movement in your stairwell. Yeah. I was like, okay, sir, noted. Anyway, with that's it. We went on and we tackled the other kind of half. It was not very far, to be honest. It's not a far distance. I think in the Google, it was 1 kilometer. So it wasn't even that like far. Anyway, we kind of kept going. He took us, I followed him, and then he took us to where kind of the rock is.
Yeah.
And
showed us fossils in the rocks.
And he's like, oh, here is where you can like stay and all that. And he's like, oh, you know what, guys, jump in my car. I'll give you a little tour. Like, what? Yeah. Like, he was sweating, obviously, because he'd been working, trying to get us out of the hole for the past hour. And then instead of like hating us, like, you stupid tourists, he's like, oh, you know what? You're safe now. What about you guys coming up in my car? I'll give you a little tour of the park and the rock, and you know where you are going to be. So we jumped in his car, and he showed us all the rock. So obviously the rock where we stayed, kind of like using the shade of the rock, it's called fossil rock, like I said. And he was explaining, he showed us that if you pour water into the rock, the fossils start coming out, because that was obviously million years ago was the deep of the ocean. That was the depth, like that was the floor, the bottom of the ocean. So it was insane to see those fossils that have been hundred million years ago. Like, absolutely amazing. And then he obviously put us in the car again, and he drove up the biggest and steepest sand dunes, and we were like, it was like a boogie ride, and we were
Doing
like
spins and tricks again.
Screaming. Oh, it was so much fun, and he was obviously enjoying it, and he was having so much fun as well. But it was like a proper adventure. And then he's like, okay guys, do you want to stay here or you want to come? I was like, you know what, we're here, we'll stay here. And he's like, okay, I'll leave you here if you need anything, you know, we're around, and yeah, have a good night. And he just left, and he left us there in the middle of the park alone with just us.
Do you know the funny thing is, I'll never forget his face when he said, why are you camping here? And we said, we're going to go
we're going to go for a run
and
in the morning.
He had this look on his face of like, are you guys crazy? He was
Why
like,
would you want to run
what
here?
What do you mean? And we said, it's at 5 a.m. He said, well, okay, make sure it's at 5 a.m. because it gets too hot otherwise.
It gets hot.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, he was like,
this
which
face of
kind of people,
unbelievable.
first of all, comes and camps in the summer, because it was still pretty hot. It's breezy, but still pretty hot. It's like around 35 degrees. And during the day, it starts warming up to close to 50. So, but yeah, it was great. We had the most beautiful night. We camped in there, and then even more the sunset. We just walked around for the sunset. We just climbed a little sand dune, and we just watched the sunset from there. It was beautiful. But much beautiful was obviously the phone rings at 4:30, and I'm like, okay, it's time to go up. I start going up, getting ready. It was pitch black. But then I would say probably around 5, because we started at 5:30. There was like these most beautiful sunrise I've ever seen. And I've seen some sunrises, because not that I wake up early that much, right? But some of the races, and many races, and I've seen many sunrises in many deserts. This one, it was absolutely surreal. I think maybe also because of the rock formation that was in the distance, and it just made you feel like you were transported to like a different world, like you were in Mars or something. So it was absolutely stunning. And we just went out and ran. I had 2 hours and a half in my training log that day. So I just went up and down. We just, we went climbing up really high. And then Andy had his first, I guess, little dune climbing up experience. How did that feel?
And going down, we actually, because when we went,
hold on, the up first.
Yeah, the up is tough. And I've actually, it's in Andy's facts today about sand running, right? But I remember when we actually got to the top, and it didn't feel that bad. But then coming down, when we looked at the sand dune going down the way, I was like, oh my God, look at that. And I felt that more. In my calves.
Okay.
Which is weird, yeah. So
what do you think about running in sand?
I need to train my calves more.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Yes, I've heard that before. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, we climb up really high, but then again, you were saying there was like this massive drop. I love running down from in the sand dunes. It is so much fun. You just can like let yourself go. Not always, because I'll post the video of Atacama. I did fail in one of them. And the bad thing is like, if you don't go as fast as your legs, yeah, that's a tumble for sure. But still fun. So yeah, after we finished, we obviously came back to the car. Andy is kind of like got everything together. Well, I had to go and do another kind of 40 minutes. Yeah, like 40 minutes, 50, a little bit more, just to complete my time. And then we finally were like, okay, if it was difficult to come in, now we have to get out of here. So let's get out of here. So we tried to learn. Well, and also while we were running, I was trying to learn the route out, because we cannot brake. That was like the first instruction in driving in dunes, to never brake the car. So I was like, I just need to put the pedal.
I had the bright idea of drawing arrows in the sand.
Yes, we're drawing arrows in the sand. We're like, okay, we just need to put the pedal down, and then go and follow the arrows. That was a brilliant plan. Until it wasn't. So obviously when we're coming out, we lost the arrows. I was going very fast, because otherwise I would get stuck. Like, you cannot drive slow and you cannot brake. So it's just kind of like driving like, And then I think we got lost. You say that you've seen the road. I didn't see the road. And we just kept going where it was we weren't supposed to go.
You were doing so well. It's doing so well.
And and somehow there was like this massive sand dune in front of us. I cannot brake, so I just had to go with it. So suddenly I had to put the pedal of the accelerator all the way to the bottom, going up that sand dune, both screaming. And then at the big end of the sand dune, the car just like floated for a second in the air, and then we landed sideways in the sand dune. Totally stuck again.
I tell you what was stuck. My fingers in the dashboard holding on for my life. My fingers, there's finger imprints in the plastic.
My face. I think we both, like, after the car flew a couple of centimeters off the sand dune and we next to, like, that sideways in the sand dune. Like, that was a little bit of a panicky moment, terrified, angry. I don't know how I felt.
Yeah, I've got to say that I was nervous. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to look at. I just thought, oh no. But the only thing I could say at the time was, you were doing such a good job as well.
I was so angry, so annoyed. I can't believe we got stuck again. So anyway, we had to call his friend to get us out, because we got also another phone number from him. And he got us out. He even got us like free dune driving lessons.
Yes, he did.
He was amazing. And he actually is like, oh, I am a teacher, a driving instructor of sand dunes. So yeah, and I was like, I am definitely in. Like, I think I would like this. When we were running, there was like these couple of cars that were touring the sand dunes where we were running. Yeah. That was kind of interesting. Yeah, I didn't know it was such a thing. Like, it's a hobby. Maybe that hobby is better than just running them. Huh? You get the same views, just a little bit faster. So yeah, that was our weekend. It was absolutely the best training day ever.
And for the comedy of it, right, as well, all this happened before 8 a.m. in the morning.
Like, what?
I know.
And that was the best training day ever. And it had nothing to do with pace or splits or distance or anything. It was just the place that was so surreal, the people we met, just the laughs, and also, you know, the kind of highs and lows that we went through the whole weekend, like from scared to annoyed to fun to, like, it was just everything.
But you know something? I think that's one of the things, one of the beauties that trail running brings. Because if you go out and you are a wee bit adventurous, and I'll be honest, there was a wee part of me that when we were deciding whether we should camp out there,
I said no.
I was like, I don't know, maybe we should try and find out a wee bit more about the area and find out about it. But I'm actually so delighted that we done it. Do you know what I mean? It was brilliant.
So when the husbands say, no, I don't, just push them.
Yeah, but I think
it'll be worth it.
It's something amazing that
it worked this time though.
But it's something amazing that you would never experience unless you took that chance. And that's, I guess, what trail running brings, isn't
exactly. It? Like, it's just, that's, like I say, when people, there was someone in the chat just now in the chat room asking me, why did I run? Why do I like running? It's because of this. I don't like the running itself. Like I explained to you guys multiple times, I actually hate running. But I do like the experiences that it brings me. So yeah, that's exactly what I love running, because, you know, it's a good, for me, is the excuse for going out and having to do, because I had 2 hours and a half in the clock for training that day. And I know, you know, like it has to be fun, like, you know, otherwise I'm not a sporty, like, yeah, let's go and work out person. Like, I'm not, like, it has to be fun. I have to make it fun for myself. So, yeah. And with that said, after our crazy adventure, let's go into Andy's Facts by Andy.
Andy's Facts by Andy, I love it. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier on, we have got some running in sand facts.
Oh yeah.
Just because, listen, anybody out there that's been listening to the podcast for a while knows I get my inspiration from what happened the week before. So, running on sand requires up to 1.6% more energy on a firm surface?
I would say more.
So science says in 1998, a study in the Journal of Experimental Biology found that running on dry sand uses 1.6 times more energy than running on a hard surface. Why that matters? Your body must work harder to stabilise and push off, so training on sand boosts cardiovascular and muscular endurance significantly, especially for calves, glutes and stabilisers.
Oh, there you go. That was your calves that you were like,
there you go.
Oh my God, my calves.
So it's good training for people to get out there because it's totally different.
And if you don't run, I would say even walking or hiking, if you have sand dunes close to you, definitely.
Next one, and you'll love this one.
Okay.
Barefoot or low-profile shoes engage more stabilising muscles.
Absolutely.
So science says a 2017 study in gait and posture showed that barefoot or minimalist running on sand increases activity in intrinsic foot muscles and ankle stabilisers. Why that matters is you can use sand to train neuromuscular control and foot strength, but ease into it. Or risk overuse injuries like plantar fasciitis or Achilles strain.
Yeah, one of the things that I think I've shared with you all at the beginning of the podcast, maybe even season 1, it was that I realized I had really weak feet, like sole of my foot. And doing research and things like that, it came about that my sole of my feet were weak because we all use very overcushioned shoes. And well, every shoe has, some sort of cushion, and our body is you're just teaching your body to be kind of like weak, and soft. So it's good to once in a while, if you don't even have sand dunes, because that, not everyone has that around the house or around home, just walk barefooted. Or there is the type of shoes that are kind of like similar to walking barefooted. That's how I love to go and just walk with those types of shoes. And even doing that changed a lot of my foot strength, mobility, and stability as well. Also, I would recommend them to go to the gym with those kind of shoes. Gym meaning to lift and things, right? If you're running, obviously.
You got me into them, didn't you?
It's just because you're going to be more stable, you will be able to do, let's say, the squat, or you're going to be able to do, your movements or your lunges or whatever, more stable and more stable ground. And if you're trying to do a heavy squat in like super cushioned shoes, you're going to be you're going to see how you're like tumbling around. So that's not really great because you're not even, using all your power because it's being sucked by the cushion of a shoe as well. So, yeah.
Well, this one I love, right?
Okay.
Soft sand reduces impact forces but increases muscle fatigue. Yeah. So science says that research from sports biomechanics found that soft sand absorbs more impact, reducing stress on joints, knees and hips. Love that. But increases muscle demand. Hate that. Especially in the hamstrings and calves due to the lack of rebound. So why that matters, it's great for low impact training, but expect deep muscular fatigue. Recovery sessions or drills on sand can condition muscles safely of introduced progressively.
Imagine doing 250 kilometers in sand.
I was just about to say that. How do you deal with that when you're going through every day for 8 hours or 10 hours?
I have no idea, people. Like I said, sometimes I even surprise myself. Right now, I'm like, who's that person? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. I think, and I've always said, because even before that race, I'm like, how am I going to do that? And right now I'm in the same place. How did I do that? But I think there is a magic or a power when you're all geared up and you're in front of that start line and then you have to go. I think there is a power of it.
Can I tell you what I think? I'm going to anyway. Is that see when I watch you running? I mean, I'm either before you or after.
Let's see if you see it.
What I see from you, and actually I joked with your dad about it when we were at Cocodona, is you run like a machine. It's like I was saying it was like someone's got
like a robot.
Someone's got Roman drums with that dum 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 dum, and you are just running at that pace, and you can see it's just a continuous movement. It's like you're just in a zone and not thinking about it, and that's the way you're doing it, and that's how you're going to get there.
Well, that's exactly it.
I always find it funny, especially when I'm running behind you, because it's this just single movement.
I can imagine seeing from outside, like,
Dun, 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 dun,
Now I'm going to be
dun,
thinking
dun.
about that.
I know.
But yes, I think that's exactly it. I think how I explain it is that another person comes in and takes over. That's how I feel it, because it's like my brain is almost like different. Like I'm thinking differently than what I feel when I'm thinking right now. Because right now it's my normal me. And I'm like, there's no chance we can do that. And then when I'm in that start line and I go and I have to do that, someone else takes over. And it's like, what's the name of my... Merenguita. So we have a name.
Yeah,
She's
Tanya's
wild.
alter ego.
Alter ego. She's
One
wild.
of the many. She's got like 7 in there.
She's wild.
Okay, so I thought this was really interesting. Hydration. Hydration and salt loss are amplified in sandy environments.
Yeah.
So sand reflects sunlight and holds heat, increasing core temperature and sweat rate, especially in dry, arid conditions. A wilderness and environmental medicine study noted that electrolyte loss can double in desert environments.
Yep.
Now, why that matters is long sand run requires extra hydration strategy, including sodium replacement and not just water. I would never have said that it would have been double.
And even, I would say even it's like even more, triple. If it's
Electrolyte
in a
loss is
humidity environment like we have it here in the UAE, that says that it's in dry environments. Now imagine when it's wet. And it's
humidity
like
as well,
even more, like you're sweating even more.
See that, I think that's super important for anybody that's out
It
there,
is
because
super
I would never have guessed that it would be double.
It is because you're also you're doing, like you mentioned before, you're doing more effort. So more effort, your machine gets warmer. It's warm outside already. So it's just everything is just on fire.
In more ways than one. Okay, so next one is your cadence and stride need adjusting. Don't fight the terrain. Science says studies show runners on sand tend to naturally shorten stride and increase cadence to stay stable and efficient. A 2012 study in the Journal of Applied Biomechanics confirmed that forcing normal gait on sand leads to earlier fatigue and inefficiency. Why it matters?
I love that.
Is training your form to adapt to sand is key. Go with the terrain. Don't try and replicate road form.
Exactly. I would say that not only in sand dunes, but in trail altogether. Because I see a lot of people like training, even track, and then they're taking, and I've said that before also in the
we talked
podcast.
about that before.
That I see a lot of people, not that it's wrong, but I see a lot of people taking a lot of time, more than they should probably, into the running form. I was like, if you're training for a marathon, it's absolutely fine. But I see a lot of trail runners trying to like put a lot of hours in working in their form. And the reality is that there is no running form when you're up there. You have to jump, you have to, move up and down.
It's perceptions, the thing
and
there.
two, when you are in mile 150, there is no running form to just survive in. And what is the point in like overthinking and over kind of working on
However,
it? It's good to have it though.
Coming from the other side, and remember I'm the less experienced runner.
Yeah.
Is that I've found that there is things that I needed to work on. So for example, strength-wise, but more so in that when I'm running, I've realised that my running is better if I put my shoulders back and move up straight. However, when I get to the trails, then what I do is I loosen up my legs and my ankles and be more active on the trails, because if I'm running fast I'm never running fast uphill, but if I'm running fast downhill, then what happens is I have to hop about and be more flexible. So there are times you have to move your body around with the terrain.
But even more so, trail, you have to be strong. Because if you, like you were saying, I figure out that my form is better if I put myself in a more straight position, which obviously is a correct way. If you do not have the strength to sustain that form, then you're going to get tired and eventually you would go back, right? So what I say is, yes, have an idea, that's great, but most importantly, work out that strength. I think that when I started doing more strength work, my stride, my everything changed, just because I had the form, the force, the strength to do it. Right, know. And when I started, I remember I had a coach, and they're like, "Oh, knees up, knees up, knees up." I can't put my knee up. I had no strength in my hip flexor. I had no strength in my core. How do you want me to put the knee up? I can't. Later on, when I started getting stronger, I even seen that I was lifting my knee because I had now more strength.
You were
I was
doing it
able to do
naturally.
it more natural, exactly. So yes, and also there is not a perfect form. Just to throw it in there, there's not such a thing of a perfect form. Each one has their own things, tips and tricks, and things that work for you that may not think. Obviously, there is a line, you know, like running with your back straight. I mean, that's a little bit of common sense, right? But there's. You're not going to be running like gobbling.
Shoulders back. No, but here's the thing, right? And we talked about it in a podcast before. Is remember the time that we were running past, and I caught an image of myself running past a subway, not a subway, a metro station, and I could see in my form that what I was doing is I was crouched down, not crouched down, but I was a wee bit more like leaning into it.
Gobbling.
I don't call it goblin, but leaning into it, and I just said my form looks crazy, and then I looked at it and I read about putting your shoulders back, so not necessarily straightening your back, but putting your shoulders back.
There is like
and
certain
running.
things,
and that changed everything for me on flat road surfaces.
Yeah.
Just to be
trail
clear.
is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So if you're going to trail run or sand dune run, definitely strength everywhere. Strength is king. You know, in this podcast, we love strength. We don't like running. It's a running podcast that doesn't like running, but we like strength training. But anyway, all right. So let's go into Atacama. I don't know, people. I'm going to cry in this one. So just everyone hang in there, right?
I never brought any tissues.
You should have. Anyway, let's start with the long march, which is stage 5. So I'll put you up to speed until now. We've done already 4 marathons in 4 days, and this is day 5. And day 5, usually they slam you with a double marathon or longer. This one was actually kind of nice because it was only 70 kilometers. Great. I mean, compared to 90 kilometers of Jordan, I will take it. I'll take 70. I'll take 70 anytime. I was like, yeah, happy. And I was, if you remember, I was pushing day 1, 2, and 3. I exploded on day 3. So I was pretty exploded already. I was like, oh, hell. Now I'm in like trouble because I have 70 kilometers ahead. But I was kind of happy. It was 10 kilometers. It's not 90. So, you know, I usually very excited or I do good in the long march because I excel in endurance. I'm not maybe fast, but I can endure. And I've noticed that.
Dum, 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 dum,
exactly.
dum, 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 dum.
It's just like that. Robert Pace. You know what? It works.
It works. It works.
And I've noticed that when the majority of people are starting to slow down, that is when I kind of feel more energized. I don't know. That's how it works. And I actually move better. But if you remember, right, like I was saying, I pushed a little bit too hard on the first 3 days. I had really bad day 4. So I struggle with the long march since minute 1 of the long march. I was like, this is going to be a long march. But I thought also, you know what, I may change later because, you know, ultra marathons, you can feel shit at 1 second and the next one you're going to be like, oh, this is great. And then, So I was like, you know, if I told you an advice that you take for your races is that just whatever you're feeling, remember, like a wave, you see it coming and just let it go. Acknowledge it. That's great. But I'm not even going to dig on it. I'm not going to think, oh, why do I feel nothing? I said, oh, this is rough, whatever. And then just keep moving forward.
Question.
Raise your hand.
And, you know, I like to ask these random things. Now, I know that you were carrying your own gear and stuff like that, right? But is there anything you change for the long march? I mean, obviously, I don't think you can change shoes because you can't carry extra shoes. But is there anything you change for a long march because you're going to be out there longer?
Yeah, something very important.
Okay.
My undies.
Right, okay.
You feel fresh. You're like a new woman.
So for that day, what you do is try and make yourself as fresh as possible. Is that what you're saying?
So I carry 3 pairs of undies. 1 goes day 1 and 2. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this to you all. Okay, second pair goes on day 3 and 4. And
they turn them inside out.
I do? Oh man, I can't believe I'm telling you this on camera.
Secrets of the trade.
Oh, and the last pair of undies I have, it's for the long march, which I like to be fresh, and for the last day, which is a short day usually.
Okay.
And no, I am not carrying dirty undies in my backpack. They go to the trash can. Just so everyone Imagine
Okay, I was
that.
just wondering if there was something you'd done, because obviously it's a much longer distance, especially in the other long marches.
Also,
so would you change your top?
Also,
Would
you just spoke about it, and I top up my water bottles with more electrolyte and carb mix than the days before.
Yeah.
So it's quite the taste is not pleasant, but I know I'm gonna need extra power there. So yeah, I put
Okay.
an extra dash of that. So yeah, and I could just never find my stride in that day. I was just feeling tired, but I knew that once that day was over, I knew I had the Grand Slam in the pocket. But
Yeah.
still, 70 kilometers, there's a lot of things that can happen in 70 kilometers. And I didn't want to feel too confident about it. Like you still have to have some respect for distances, right? So I was like, no, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm already,
did you feel pretty fatigued and sore, or were you
It's just
kind of
tired mentally.
just tired mentally?
Yeah, I'm tired mentally. Actually, my legs, through the whole races, they've been okay. Maybe a little bit sore, but then when you sleep or rest and then you wake up the next
come
day,
back again.
you're usually fine. But yeah, I had really good placement the day 1, 2, or 3 that I was pushing. The day 4, I lost a couple of places because I had a shit day. And then the day 5, I started seeing how people were starting to pass me because I was not having a good day. So that also mentally is tough when you're like, okay, I'm not having a good day. You were placing so well.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing everyone kind of and you're like, why are they moving faster than me? Like, why? Why is this happening? So yeah, again, I don't overthink things. You feel shit. You're like, oh, that's great. But then, there's no other choice than moving forward. So that's what we did. But I think, sometimes you need to slow down also. I was like, you know what? Why is the rush? Why do I need to kill myself? I should enjoy, the day. So again, also that's like a life advice. Like sometimes just slow down. What's a rush and all that, So because I was slowing down, I was just enjoying the day. There was this massive sand. I think it was not a sand dune because it was hard enough. Thank God, because I don't think I would have survived if it was not one of those hard sand dunes. It was hard, but it was like a massive climb. A massive climb, like a 1 kilometer vertical all the way up. And I was like, oh my God. So that was halfway through the day. So it was the hottest, peakest, the peak heat was just there. And I had to climb that thing. I was like, this is not even, But going up there, once you climb up that, you go into this flat section that looks, I know we're talking about that the other place looked like Mars. This one looks like Mars. Okay, let's say this one looks like Jupiter. I don't know how it looks. But this one looked, again, like a totally different planet. It was salty.
Well, it's one of the oldest deserts in the world.
Was it also a bottom of an ocean?
It would have been at one point, yeah.
See?
Yeah, it would have been at one point. That's
I think
why
those
it's so
are my
salty.
magical ones. So yeah, it was salty in the bottom, and they had these crazy rock formations again, and you're just walking there in the middle. I was like, what is this place, right? So for a little bit, it goes in a flat, and then obviously everything that goes up has to go down, right? So I was like, again, stepping in this massive cliff looking downhill, and I was like, sand, but this time it was not only sand, it was also rocks. So I was like, well, in this one you cannot just be confident of oh, if I fall I just tumble in sand. This one had pretty ugly danger. Rocks. If you fall, your face is in danger, right? So I was like, okay. So I went down that steep downhill very carefully because it was very scary. But finishing that, and there was an aid station, I could see it. So at least I was like, okay, there's an aid station. It's a good motivation whenever you see a blue tent. And I got to the aid station, and they have usually the long days. They have one of the aid stations has the magical medical Coke waiting for you.
Coca-Cola, just to be clear.
Yeah, not that was the other one. You have to bring it on your own.
Just worried because we're in Latin America here. I just don't want anybody to get the wrong idea.
No, Coke. And yeah, I sat down there and enjoyed my Coke with that beautiful view. I was like, holy hell, I have halfway through and I'm dying. And then I seen there an American girl that we've been kind of passing each other for the whole week. So seeing her a little bit destroyed I felt better. I was like, okay, she's struggling too. It's just not me. I guess everyone's, I think seeing someone, seeing them as well that you're struggling makes you feel better because you're like, why everyone's doing better than me? And it's not always the case. And yeah, so by the way, I think I forgot to mention something at the beginning of the whole Atacama that my biggest inspiration was doing the same race. Like it was racing that race as well. And new people, it's not Courtney the Walker. It was, and probably she doesn't even know she is my biggest inspo, like ever. I saw her and I mentioned you about her in Gobi. And since then, I think every time I face something difficult, I don't know why she comes to my mind. And she has she had that impact on me, right? Vicky, you remember Vicky, guys, from Vicky. Gobi? A 72-year young woman.
She'll appreciate that.
That loves doing these things.
Yeah.
You're 72. And her backpack is massive and way heavier than anybody's. And I just couldn't get my head around, even from Gobi and now again, how this tiny little thing, because she's tiny, she's petite and super skinny and, like a grandma. And how is this thing carrying that overweighted backpack?
Out there like a rock star.
And then just come into the finish line like it was nothing. Like it just blew my mind every time. And she's doing this race as well in Atacama. And I kind of forgot to mention it. But when I was in that sand dune, when I seen that massive 1 kilometer climb up, all I could think of was Vicky. I was like, how is she going to survive this? Like, this is brutal for someone young, young, strong, like with a backpack that weighs nothing compares to her. And, I cannot complain. I have like zero excuse to just sit here and cry, right? So, and then when I was saying about the downhill, I got worried about her a little bit because I was like, how is she gonna come down this massive downhill? And if she falls, like she's gonna hurt herself. Like a fall for her in her age. I mean, like, it's just I was so worried about her. But again, she probably doesn't know like she's such a big inspiration for me. But every day I kind of waited to see when she was coming in. Like I was always worried about her and looking after her. Like, Vicky is here. Yeah, I almost felt like, oh, she's here. Okay. I'm fine.
I can relax now.
I can go to my tent. Like, and probably she didn't know that I was like always, kind of waiting for her and rooting for her. Like when the hours were passing and she was not coming in, I was always thinking of like, come on, like kind of sending her that like energy, like, come on, Vicky, you've got this. You've got this, you know? So yeah, it was great to see her doing Atacama again, doing those crazy sand dunes. Like how, I guess something I still can't understand. And yeah, it's just she keeps surprising me every day, making that finish line without breaking a sweat. So I finished the long day. I was struggling after that downhill, like I was mentioning, and I seen this American woman there. She's, I think, a little bit around my age, and we kind of stuck together. Like we were kind of in the same walking, running pace-ish. And later on, I catch up my friend Lisa, because Lisa, by that point, has passed me, the fast walker. She was already gone. And we kind of started feeling my stride. And because I was with this girl, we kind of start, when you're chatting, the time goes faster and you're moving a little bit. You kind of forget the pain and the, feeling sorry for yourself. So you kind of like start getting into a better pace. So I went on and catch Lisa. So now we were three of us there kind of plodding around in the desert. And suddenly there was another lady that joined us further on because she said, I can't remember if we catch her or she catched us. I can't remember how it was, but it was getting dark. And she's like, hey, can I stick with you guys because it's getting dark? And I mean, it's always a bit scary to go on your own at dark. And I really appreciated having company, one, because I was struggling. I'm a good navigator at night. I'm not scared of going. I mean, I've done it multiple times on my own, but it's I mean, you are following just tiny pink flags through the desert. With one headlamp, it gets kind of tricky sometimes.
Easy to miss one.
But if you have 4 headlamps and 4 sets of eyes kind of looking for the flags and just making sure we're good, it just makes it much better. And having just the company, right? And, we were chatting and just, walking, running the distance. And we realized suddenly that our wee little group had every generation represented.
Love
in
that.
There. Oh my God, I loved it.
Love it.
I was obviously the 30-year-old. The American girl that I found was 40-year-old. My friend for the one, Lisa, I'm gonna burn her. Sorry, but I just want.
She is going to kill you.
She is gonna kill me. Okay, that generation, 5 zeros. There, and the other lady that catches at the end, it was one of the strongest Aussies because I've seen her in other races as well, and she's in her 60s. So you had 30, 40, 50, and 60 women, like year old, around that age.
Yeah.
Just in the same pace, in the same place. Like, it was just amazing and we all finished together, regardless of the look, of the height, or the weight, again, of the age. We only had that thing in common. And it was like being women, clearly, and super strong women, because it was, it's not an easy feat to obviously cross any of these distances. So it's just one of those things that I was thinking when we were like just, walking through this beautiful scenery at night. It just made me think like, how amazing and beautiful is this? Like, we were just like, pals.
That's the sort of thing you'd like to have a picture of, just to prove that it's. We've talked about it millions of times, about all shapes and sizes and all different types of people, all ages can get out there and do it.
I was like, if I had a problem in my life to solve, this is the women I would call all the time. If I have to bury you when I kill you, out of war. When I kill you and I need to bury,
hey, hold on a minute.
If I need to bury a body, these are the women I would call. Absolutely. I wouldn't, no disrespect, but I wouldn't call that size 0 runner 330. I would call these women. These
the
are
people that are mentally ready for it.
All-terrain, strong, problem-solving machines of women. And just being kind of because I think that about them, and then you kind of forget to think that you are there, because maybe you are like them, or you are that as well, So that
gives you a bit of confidence, sure.
Yeah, that sometimes I think being in that surrounding, that put it in that perspective and just made me realize maybe you are one of them. So it was a perfect finish line for the last long march of the series of 5 deserts. That was I think I finished all the other ones alone, and this was the only one that I finished with company, and what a company, seriously. And that long march felt a really long march. I felt it because I was struggling really bad. And it was great to have them again, because they kind of kept me company. They pushed me, and then you kind of forget a little bit of the pain or the struggle that you're going through, because you're just chatting and having a good time, And well, next day, I'm going to try not to cry, people. Let me get my water.
In fact, for those that are on YouTube, we've got the medals behind us.
Yeah.
Yeah, the extra medals that you got for the 4 deserts. Gold in there.
So, last stage, let's go to the last stage. And this one is one that we all been waiting for a year. A year and something for now. So this one, it's 20 kilometers. It's really a long day for being the last stage.
Yeah, because the other ones were 10, weren't they? So it's
5
double,
even.
5.
Jordan was 5. Well, because the long march was 90K. So that one was a long. And then the last stage was 5K, which was beautiful. You can just walk. Even if you're competing, there's nothing really you can do in 5 kilometers. The vibe of the whole thing is celebratory kind of thing. Like everyone's already finished. But 20K, like almost half a marathon, it's still a lot.
And I guess if anybody is actually looking for a place, 20K is enough to make a difference,
I
isn't it?
had in my tent, as you know, I had Maiwa and I had Hendrik. And both of them were fighting for a place. So I feel like they couldn't even relax. Like they were still 20K. I think Hendrik was able, like he had a couple of minutes of difference between, like he had to catch the front one, and he had also the guy catching him had a couple of minutes. In a 20K, that is very, like anything can happen. You know, in a 5K, everyone kind of, there's not enough time to, eat 15 minutes of your competitor. But in a 20K, it's possible. So the whole atmosphere wasn't yet of celebration. It was still like people were still, and then like I said, in my tent, I had two really competitive people. So my tent was like, we were sleeping early, like we were not celebrating yet. We were like all kind of, getting ready for the last one. So the last one, again, it was a long one, 20K. And that morning, I knew it was the last day of obviously the deserts. It was the day that I will make history, that I was that I've been waiting for it for a year as well. And it just started such an emotional ride of a day. Like even since I started the day, like when I woke up and I started thinking of that, I was just starting crying. I'm even gonna cry now. People, don't make me cry.
I mean, you literally cry for nothing. But it's understandable. It must be. We kind of talked about it before you even went. That what's it going to be like crossing the finish line?
Don't make me cry.
Because I remember the first time you'd done your first 100, and I said to you, letting that emotion out was incredible. Incredible to see, because all that effort, all that work to get to that point, and knowing that it's over. And you got it, and you made it. It's just that
and now in this one, imagine you're not. I wasn't fighting 30 hours. I was fighting for a year.
Yeah.
Like it was a year of work. So obviously, it was like the pinnacle of all this.
Yeah.
And again, it was like I said again, it was a long day. So I partnered up again with Lisa.
Yeah.
So we kind of stayed together the whole day because it was long and it was flat and it was so boring. So we did again the flag to flag, and we were just chatting. To be honest, that helped me a lot, because otherwise I would have been crying the whole day. So we were kind of like, putting a little bit of like, kind of forgetting what was happening, because otherwise I was just going to crawl and start crying. But it felt like a long day. And then when you enter the town, you had to turn left, and then just to enter the square what the finish line was. And once I got to the street, I was like, "This is the street." Like I know it's like
this is it.
It was like chilling moment. Like when I turned left and I seen like the finish line.
Were you able, when you were running towards the finish line, were you able to take it all in, or was it just like a blur?
You know what? It was. I thought I remembered it, but now I have the videos, which they send me the videos, the ones that are not edited. And all I was thinking is like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Like I was crying, like all that, right? But I'm listening to the videos and you have no idea how many people were cheering. Like, yeah, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I hear it now that I seen the videos, and there were so many people just screaming my name. It was beautiful.
But see, that's part of I guess it's part of the achievement overall, isn't it? See, getting to that, and granted, the first Mexican to do it and different things.
You know what?
But it's the achievement itself within yourself, knowing that you've done it, that you've got that distance and you've managed to do it. It's almost like something that not many people do that you're capable of.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that itself, I think, is a big thing.
I think what it was like, when I was like getting close to the finish line, or those couple hundred meters before, it's like all the year, kind of like all these flashes of everything.
I was going to ask that. Did you get the flashes of the tough times and the good times?
All the flashes. I got the flashes of like Namibia, the first desert that I was 55 degrees climbing the sand dunes like a year ago, and I didn't know, like I remember I was crying the sand dunes because I was like, maybe I signed up for something I it's more than I can chew. Kind of like those doubts about myself. Even moving countries, because we moved. So also life things that we went through, like those harsh moments or those difficult decisions or whatever. We also lost Chato along the way. So he was in my head a lot. A lot in that day. And the pain that I went through Jordan, like in my feet, like all those things.
You literally had everything when you think about it. Ups and downs.
Ups and downs. And like I said, not even race-wise, like just life-wise. It's just, so it's just like, I think you underestimate a year in your life. Like how many things that can happen, how many things you can achieve, or how many things you can change, or, that you go through your life. I think people just go through their life like, but a year is a long time.
Yeah.
And a lot of things happened in that year, and I got all the flashes in those last couple 100 meters. And like I said, I think it's one of the things that I will still remember, and I'll still cry about it. Like,
but see, also,
how many people have like memories that so strong?
But that goes back to what we were talking about earlier on, even about the trail running and ultra running, is that these are things that you would never experience. Not to talk about your deathbed, but on your deathbed, you'll look back and you'll definitely feel fulfilled that you've done things and you've chased dreams that you've wanted to do, you've wanted to chase, and that is gold. You can't manufacture that. Do you know what I mean? It's gold. You have to get out there and do it.
And I think if you remember, guys, also as well at the beginning of when we were about to gear up to start and doing the first one, I always say that pick a word. Because I don't like the mantras, for me it's too long a mantra, and if it's too cheesy, it's not going to work, because that's how my brain works. And I pick a word. For me, a word works. And I've been grateful has been word of like, I do it per training blogs or per race, like something that I have, like I just decide to go to that word whenever things get hard. And like I said, it's been gratitude before, and whenever I'm going through something difficult, I just think about that word that I chose for that specifically time in my life, and then I just start thinking things around it. I'm grateful that I have this body. I'm grateful for being here, and then that kind of like pulls you out of thinking that you are in a rough spot or you're feeling tired or whatever. That distracts your brain, right? So for this one, I don't know if you remember, but we put the word legacy. And I think that's one of the things that moved me a lot, knowing that we achieved that, because I was thinking that, like, I want to be the first Mexican. I want to finish this. I want to be the 9th woman that's finished this mammoth of a challenge. And that's the thing I was thinking a lot of the time. Like, you cannot not finish, because you want your name to be in the books. Like, you want that. So come on, you can do it. Like, just imagine the time when you open that website and it says, one of the most badassest people in the world, and you're going to be there. So, you have to keep pushing. And that, like I said, it doesn't
mean... What was legacy?
It was legacy. So I achieved that. Now, now my name is in the books, and that was a strong feeling.
How do you feel about it now? And I mean, I know the emotions coming out just now, you're talking about it, right? But how do you feel about the whole thing now in reflection? Like, do you look back at it with fond memories, or do you look back at it with maybe not so fond memories? Because overall, there was so many ups and downs.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to jump in but this one is coming, right? The next season or the next episode. I don't know if we're going to do a different season for this, but I'll tell you what, I think I have more fond memories of Cocodona than I have of the 5 deserts.
Really?
You didn't expect that?
I didn't expect that, no. Yeah. I didn't expect that. Although, having said that, it was a completely different thing.
It was a completely different thing. But I don't think I don't want to say that I didn't have fun. I had fun, but I think it was... I think
it was too much?
I think it was too much. I think I was battling, I was struggling more than I had fun. Like I said, I think if I only done one race, I would have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But because it was not the case, it was too much. Like the 5, in 1 year is too much. And that took away a lot of the enjoyment, I think.
Yeah.
Alongside with the effort, alongside with the traveling, and just your life. Just my
and
life
I think
just
with the
got very...
cortisol and stuff like that,
Yeah,
you were
exactly.
worried about that. So there was a lot of things compounded.
Now
I
my
guess.
body, and this is another thing that we're going to talk about, I have it here, and nice transition there. And now I think seeing my body is so destroyed for that is also not a fun memory that I have from it. Yes, I feel absolutely super proud. We achieved it. We crossed the finish line, everything you want, but at what cost? And that's where, people, I will have to leave that for people to decide if that's a cost that you want to take of doing these kind of things. And my body, like we mentioned a couple of times, definitely took a toll. Cortisol spikes that made me a hump in the back that we got surgically removed when I was...
My hump. Check it out.
And now I was left with 6 kilos overweight. I gained 10% body fat, so lost a lot of muscle, gained a lot of fat. So the gain of weight is not muscle, it's all fat. And just kind of like going back into the saddle has been really difficult. But
I would like to add something to that.
yeah.
I know that you just now are talking about, and we talked about it on the previous podcast, about your body and the changes and the weight that you've put on and so on. But I'll tell you a positive about it. Is see in the past few weeks...
I have boobs. Yeah.
This is a strange podcast. But see, in the past few weeks, I've seen a different Tanya again.
Yeah.
I've seen a more focused Tanya, someone that's more determined, someone that's more, like you're really concentrating on your training and what that's going to look like. It's like you're reinvigorated. So if there's a positive to take from it, then that's a positive, definitely, you know what I mean?
I think after a race, if you ever do a race or even a project, if you're in life and you finish a project, I think we all deserve a little... take it down and don't feel guilty about it. I feel like social media just pushes you to always be like, resting is wrong. You have to wake up at 3 in the morning and always 10% better every day. Hey, it's not like that.
Who's going to carry the boats?
Who's going to carry the boats? It's not like that. And you shouldn't feel guilty or bad about I took 7 weeks. I mean, but fair enough, I did it because of my surgery. But I think if I didn't have the surgery, I would have done it as well. I think I deserved it. I think I needed it. And like you said, I feel now I'm coming back more fresh,
focused,
renewed.
like
I'm excited because I wasn't excited about running anymore. And that's also a good advice when people ask me, when do I go back? When do I know I'm ready to go back training? Whenever you feel like, but like truly feel like not because
you just
have to. Yeah, you have to. And it's like, that's what I do. And no, like running doesn't define you and you're just not that race or you're just not that person. Like you have to have something apart from that. So you have to take your time and then you will know when you're craving that again, then that's the time. Like, but you would really need to listen to yourself in that one. So, going back to you're seeing me more focused, more alert, more like into, because also I know how to do it.
I was going to say, except for the food. You're not happy about the food at all.
Well, let's talk about that because that's a good point. Because I put that in. There is a challenge for you all out there. Not a challenge. If you want to join me, feel free to join me. It will be fun, I promise. Yes, I've done it before. I mean, I was overweight before I started running. I was, overweight. I was not in the best shape, but I was still running now. Like, don't get me wrong, I run. I just my physical, like my fitness, my physical wasn't because I overeat. I think I have a problem with food. I love eating. Snacker, and I just love eating, mate. Like I love it. And yes, people say like, but you run so much. Yeah, but I shouldn't be eating the amount of food I am eating. And sometimes it's good because if my training is peak and like I'm doing a load of work and the volumes are high, it's great for that. But eventually you don't leave running 100 miles a week. I mean, normal people don't. So obviously it's not great. So I realized that I can do the change if I just focus in a better, healthy, more balanced diet. Meaning portion control, Tanya, portion control. And I like to do this challenge, and I've said it before, because for me it's a challenge. Because eventually, I struggle with it. If you struggle with something, it's a challenge. And I love challenges, as you know. So I am going to challenge myself for these next 3 months, to get back into my normal, at least my normal base weight, lose the 10% fat that I had from this past year. And obviously that means that I'm going to have to watch my portions, my portions control, which it's a little for what I'm used to. So yes, I am not happy. I am hungry most of the time, and I am very cranky, and I am hungry, and yeah, it's not fun. I'm hungry. I'm sore.
Especially for me.
You know what? I almost forgot how this felt, because I've done it before.
Yeah, I remember.
So yeah.
The funny thing is, and I say that all the time, is that food is the hardest part.
It is.
But makes the biggest difference. Because
Yes.
I remember when before I came to run and went to the gym, I was like 16 stone. My dad was talking about it, remember? 16 and a half stone. And then you put me in touch with Alba, who was a nutritionist at the time.
Yeah.
And he put me on a program. He listened to what I had to say. And that made the biggest difference to me. And it is definitely, it's the most difficult, but makes the biggest difference.
It's super difficult, like I said, more so if you are a foodie like us. It is. I think a lot of women, we are just, it's difficult. Yeah. And then it's just our biggest struggle, my biggest struggle. And I'm coming here raw and real with you all. So these 3 months we're going to dedicate to that. I am calling it the Hunger Games.
The Hunger Games. I love it.
I put it on Instagram up there. If you want to join it. 3 months of, not food wise, but if you want to, you could, but don't kill yourself with hunger. What I'm incentivizing is to do a challenge of like something that you struggle with, that maybe it's a bad habit. Maybe it's smoking, maybe it's, I don't know, whatever you struggle with and you want to change, and let's go and do it together, because we're all going to be suffering anyway. So let's make it fun, right? Because that's what I like to do. Make it fun. If you can't against them, just join them. So yeah, these 3 months.
But make sure you let your husbands know beforehand, because the crankiness is off the chain.
Just say it was Tanya's fault. You have someone to blame. Let's say that. So yeah, these 3 months, it's going to call it Project Hunger Games. We are 42 weeks away from Cocodona. So I thought, it's a great way. It's a great time right now where I can lower my calorie intake, because my training is just starting. So my load is not very high. And this is where you can cut off calories. Please don't try to cut off calories if you're training for, like if you are in the middle of your training, or you are, loading big volumes of stress, meaning gym or miles or whatever. Yeah, that's not the moment to do it. Like, too late.
I think we're 8 weeks away from Burning Man Ultra.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. But I'll
be a nice stepping stone,
I'll push a little bit, on that one. So please don't do it irresponsibly, obviously. But yes, we're doing that these 3 weeks, and I'll come here and tell you how we're feeling right now. Like I said, we've been 2 weeks in. I've lost 1 kilo. Last week last week we lost 1 kilo, right? Which I've told you about this episode, which is last week. We didn't lose anything. Yes, I wanted to kill someone. Absolutely.
I had a whole day of you moaning about the fact that and I'm saying, but listen, you put more muscle on, but a whole day.
I did put a little muscle on.
A whole day.
Maybe that's why I didn't lose anything, but a whole week of effort for nothing. But listen, I know that's how it is, like I said, because I've done it before. And listen, even if you're not in endurance, trust me that this mental strength game is going to upscale your mental game. Like, this is so good for your mental strength to say no to yourself. It is a powerful mental tool that I've used, and I like to train my mind. It's not only that I'm going to do it obviously for my health, but also for my mind, for my mental strength. A lot of people tell me, like, how do you train mental strength up like this? Doing something that challenges me a lot in a different level, like food-wise, and saying no to yourself and training your brain to say, no to something that clearly is craving, that clearly wants it, and not letting those feelings take over. I take control of those feelings, because those are the kind of things that you're going to need out there when you're in trail and you're feeling sorry for yourself and sad. You're going to be already like, no, the brain, like I know the brain is the one that leads here, and learn how to say no. Oh, I'm going to sit here and stop. No, you already practiced that plenty of times before. So you're not going to give up so easily. So mental strength, challenge, activate.
I feel like we should have a button. Activate.
Activate it. So awesome, guys. Let's see. Before we go, we'll just read a little bit of the chat room. What preparations do you take in your ultra marathon running? I'm going to the next level running. I'm doing my first ultra run on September 27th. Elevation Everest, doing the full 20,000 feet, 20,000 feet, I want to say probably.
Wow.
And 17-hour cutoff. That's fun. Preparation. Yeah, well, preparation. You should be already, if it's in September, you should be well on your way. A lot of training-wise, I'm sure you have a coach, but probably loading will be probably in August-ish. Right now, build the best advice I could give anyone is just get there in your best fitness level. Like if you don't have, for example, this one's elevation. I don't know if you live in a place where you can practice elevation, like that oxygen deprivation. Yeah. But if you don't, for whatever reason, then you just have to get there with your best fitness possible that you can get. And if you're super fit and strong, your body will be most usual, like it will be able to take on almost anything.
We actually talked about that before in a previous podcast, because the elevation's so high, about the things that you can do to try and support you with the elevation. And it's something that everyone has came back and talked about and said, you know what? Elevation sometimes I find is the toughest thing, because of the way that your head interacts and your breathing. And whatever you expect it might be, if you haven't done the training, it's way worse, isn't it? So
it is really hard. Atacama had a couple of elevation, and I could feel my head pounding, and then your heart is going to 1,000 million times per hour, and you're like, I'm just walking, like what is going on? And it's just hard. If you can arrive there a little bit before, if it's already elevation, that kind of helps just to get yourself kind of acclimatized to it. But my best advice is that, and also you can do a little bit of HIIT training. That usually helps because raises your blood
I was going to say that.
The red blood cells, and that carry more oxygen. The more red blood cells that you have, the more oxygen you can have. So you want to take every bit of oxygen if you're up there and there's not much, you want to optimize that oxygen on intake.
Because one of the funny things as well, when it comes to temperature and stuff like that, you actually experienced that everywhere you were overheating. So you had to, like, even in Antarctica, you had to feel like you were stripping down. And then in the other races as well, although the sun was beating down, you were feeling like you were overheating, and you were trying to really manage that as well. So trying to understand the temperature
also
and how to deal with your body.
It is hard. Altitude is definitely hard. But I know you're a rocket. Just remember patience. Just keep moving forward. Problem solve as the problems come along.
Keep in touch with the podcast and let us know how you're getting on.
Let us know if you survive.
Yep. Let us know how you're getting on with your training.
And that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Sticking with us.
Sorry, I had a little meltdown. I mean, you will understand, I'm sure. You'll probably love it.
Yeah.
People ask me to be more dramatic, so that's as dramatic.
That is getting dramatic.
That's it.
And also, listen, if you wouldn't mind, like and subscribe. We never ask, and I thought, let's ask today.
You want to join this ride because it's coming.
Yeah.
It's going to be
the Cocodona story's coming up.
Oh, yeah, Cocodona is coming. We are done and dusted with the 5 deserts. All the medals are on the wall. We earned them. You earned them with me. You came along to the ride, and I am so thankful for having you here. Now, let's go on to the next. So have a wonderful weekend, and remember to keep doing whatever makes you ultra happy.